Where Corey? I want him to help me with this fence.
He got recruited by a college football team.
It ain't gonna get him nowhere.
If he be like you in the sports, he gonna be all right. Ain't but 2 men ever played baseball good as you.
And what did it ever get me? I ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of.
Hey, Pop, can I ask you a question? How come you ain't never liked me?
What law is there say I got to like you? A man is supposed to take care of his family. You live in my house, fill your belly with my food, put your behind on my bed because you're my son. Now, don't you go through life worrying about whether somebody like you or not. You best be making sure they're doing right by you.
Hi, welcome to What the Flick. I am Christy. That is Alonzo. That is Bibbs. Fences is out. Has been out.
It opens.
Where is it?
It opens tomorrow.
This Friday
Does it
in
open
limited
tomorrow?
release.
In limited
Okay.
release, and then expands into the Christmas season.
Anyway, in the awards talk, you have Denzel Washington and Viola Davis, and justifiably so. Alonzo will describe to you Fences.
Sure. So August Wilson, one of his series of historical plays about the 20th century. He adapted the screenplay himself, although he's been dead for a while, and it's my understanding that Tony Kushner may have come in and tightened it up a little bit. But in any event, it's pretty much the play, and it's directed by Denzel Washington, who stars as a garbage man who once got very close to the big leagues, but it was pre-Jackie Robinson, and so there was only so far he could go. Now that his son is proving to be an athletic prodigy himself and might be getting a scholarship, the dad does not trust it and thinks that he needs to get his head out of the clouds. And the long-suffering Viola Davis is the wife, and it's a play made into a movie, but it's a play. Take a look.
What you ever given me?
Your feet, them bones that pumping hard.
You never done nothing but hold me back, afraid I was gonna be better than you.
Everything that boy do, he do for you.
It's not easy for me to admit that I've been standing in the same place for 18 years.
Well, I've been standing with you. I got a life too. Don't you think I had dreams and hopes? What about my life? What about me?
What are you gonna do?
Some people build fences to keep people out, and other people build fences to keep people in.
You know, some of the best films ever made have been adapted from
Sure.
plays, and Fences isn't one of the best films ever. It's pretty good, but it just never breaks out. It never feels cinematic. It feels incredibly stagey.
Yeah.
That's not terrible, but it's really aggressive.
I mean, yeah, it's like they'll walk outside, they'll be outdoors. It's not like it's, oh, we're stuck in this airless room, but it's that thing of, let's all talk about the thing that happened over there that you didn't see, but that we're going to now tell you happened, which you see in a play and you understand that that's how it works and that it's too expensive to have a 4-car collision or whatever, you know. But in this movie, there's a lot of important personal shit that happens off camera that we're told about later. And it goes against that whole thing of like show, don't tell. There's a lot of telling.
But the telling is really, really
The telling
well
is
acted.
great. Yes.
I feel like Denzel expands this world just enough so that, yeah, you know it's a play. You never forget that it's a play, but I'm okay with that. But yet, like, there is a world outside of this backyard, right?
Sure.
There are streets. There's an office. There's the plant where he works. Whatever. What is it called?
He's a
garbage
sanitation.
man. What's the place called where they all bring the trucks back to?
Oh, the depot.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So I feel like he expands it just enough, but still is true to what makes this great, and that's the writing. And it crackles, and the energy is tremendous. And you could do worse than spending 2 hours with Denzel Washington and Viola Davis bouncing off of each other. It's beautifully acted.
Absolutely. The entire cast is great. The acting is all spot on and riveting. Washington is not a showy director at all, but he loves these actors and he loves these words, and he's highlighting those things really well. And that's enough. I mean, I like this movie. I mean, I know I came out of the gate complaining, but I think that it does what it does well, but it is so consciously what it is, and I think what it is limits what it could have been.
And yet, I think that in some ways that's partially by design. You know, it takes place mostly in a backyard and inside a house, and it is in these two very small places that he's trying to put up a wall against. He's building a fence. He's building a fence, and
It's
they make a point.
Physical fence.
Yeah, that's a big plot point. It's that kind of movie.
And someone actually says, Some fences are built to keep people out.
Yeah.
Others to keep people in.
That's true. Fences have many purposes.
They also make good neighbors. They didn't talk about that.
But these are the two places where his character, who, touched upon greatness but got stymied, this is where he's king. And that's kind of just where we are. We're in this place with this person who really, in many respects, as we discover throughout the film, is very small. He doesn't have a huge impact on a lot of people. He's kind of aware of it. He knows that his life hasn't gone where he wanted it to be. He's very well aware of his frailties, but he still talks a big game. Anyway, this is basically the cinematic equivalent of your dad in the backyard working on his motorcycle, shooting shit with his best friend, and they're not really honest, or that they're inflating their egos or their stories. But if you pay attention, you can really get a really good sense of who they are, warts and all. And I think on that level, it is somewhat honest. But yeah, it's just very so mannered that it takes a long time for me to get into the groove of this movie and accept it as a reality, because it does just feel like stage on top of it.
But I appreciate, though, that as director and as star, that Denzel Washington is not trying to make us like him. I mean, this is a guy who is deeply flawed and makes serious mistakes, and he's charismatic as hell, and he can talk a good game, as you say, but he's done some terrible things.
Oh, yeah.
And as you say, he is small, so I appreciate that he is always willing to go to these complicated places, and that Viola Davis is not just the put-upon wife. There's a lot more to her than that.
And the two of them played these roles on stage. There was a recent Broadway revival where they come in armed with that.
It is lived in.
And I'm glad these exist as they've been captured on film, that they have been immortalized in this movie. But I think there is a sense for a lot of it where it's less about, these characters and what am I learning about them, as much as like, I am watching great acting. And it is great. It is fucking great acting. I'm not going to deny it. But I'm just sort of, that's what this experience was for me.
Was it you who said it has the most acting of any movie this year?
I don't know. Maybe.
Someone said that, and it's not true, because it's not subtle acting. It's the dialogue is so forthright throughout all of it. Everyone's saying exactly what they're thinking, and they're acting it out exactly what they're thinking all the time. There's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of like quiet looks where you feel like, as the audience, you're interpreting. Everything is just right there on the surface.
It's talky.
It's very talky. That's not terrible, but it lends. It's a certain. It has an energy to it that may be a little off-putting, I think, for certain audiences who are not used to that at all.
I would say, though, despite the talkiness and the kind of in-your-face-ishness of it, that it sneaks up on you toward the end with some emotion. Like, Viola Davis has a couple different monologues. I cried. I was straight up sitting on the couch crying, sobbing, and then it sticks the landing. I will say there's a scene at the end that ties it all together, that sneaks up on you with surprising emotional power, and I was surprised at how they tie things together from what had come previously and how well that worked. So this worked for me greatly. Bigly, if you will. I liked it a lot. I really liked it a lot. Do you want to do numbers, or is there more you want to say?
No, it's a movie that I admire more than I love, but I do admire it.
Okay, so you are?
7.
You are?
7.5, kind of like Alonzo. I think I admire it a little bit more than I like it, but it's good. You should
Are
see it.
you? Okay, I thought you were 7.
Oh, did I say 7?
Yeah, you changed.
I
But
did
you're
change.
welcome to
I
do whatever you
apologize.
want to do.
Damn right.
You can change back
What
if you
number
want.
would you like?
I'll say 7.5.
That
I
makes
do
math
recommend that
easier
it's
for
pretty
me.
good.
Okay, I say 8, so 7.5 from us. It is at 88% on the tomato meter. This will be in the awards talk.
Yes.
And deservedly so.
Already up for Golden Globes,
For the two of them.
I believe.
I
Yes.
think. And picture?
Is
maybe?
it?
I
Anyway.
think.
It's the Golden Globes.
I
They mean
know.
nothing.
They all mean nothing.
It's Hollywood's second biggest thing. All right, go see it. Bye.